I am excited to be here today, and thank you for taking the time to be with us. We come together as our second installation of our four-part series titled Right for Change Conversations on Race in America. We have some very outstanding panelists that I am really eager to introduce. But first, we must acknowledge the historic reality of where our feet are planted and rooted at The Ohio State University. I will now read aloud the land acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge the land that The Ohio State University occupies is the ancestral and contemporary territory of the Shawnee and Potawatomi in Delaware, Miami, Peoria, Seneca, Wyandotte, Ojibwe, and Cherokee people. Specifically, the university resides on land ceded in the 1795 Treaty of Greenville and the forced removal of tribes through the removal of the Indian Removal Act of 1830. We want to honor the resiliency and the tenacity of these tribal nations and recognize the historical context that has and continues to affect indigenous and native people. Our webinar series is the result of a really incredible fall issue produced by The Ohio State University's alumni magazine that focused on systemic racism and what we can do to increase and foster greater inclusion, equity, and diversity at the university and beyond. The alumni magazine chose to address the issue head on because Ohio State is one of the great intellectual installations in America with great size and scope to make a real difference in our society. Addressing systemic racism and eliminating the barriers that keep us from a more perfect union is one of the grand challenges of our times. For 50 years, I'm proud to say we have been doing this work in the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. Long before it was popular and widely accepted, we believed that inclusion had merit and diversity brought us greater strength. As the university celebrates 150 years, yes, 150 years, we're proud to say 1/3 of that history, we have been a part of that equation, doing our part to advance inclusion, diversity, equity throughout the university enterprise and beyond. But the truth is, we need others to stand shoulder to shoulder with us and do this purposeful and noble work. The time is now, and the place is here for us to begin having these hard conversations and act together to produce the groundswell that we need to eradicate and eliminate those things that keep us apart. Simply put, we hope today we move us collectively from advocacy to action. Our first panel featured our beloved 16th president, President Christina Johnson, and looked at what the university is actively doing to become purposefully more inclusive. As we look around our world, we realize that great minds literally come from every zip code, but opportunities do not always reside in many of the zip codes across our country. That's why we're taking a broader look today at systemic issues of inequality in housing, education, and other domains of our society. But today, Central Ohio will be the backdrop of our conversation. We call it Home is the Key, Addressing Community Disparities. Now let's meet our wonderful panelists. I'm going to briefly introduce each one of them. We have a terrific public official, also a beloved Ohio State alumni with us today. She's a former assistant city attorney who was named to the Columbus City Council in 2019. Please join me in welcoming Council Member Shayla Favor. Next, we have Dr. Donna Ford, a distinguished professor that we stole from the University of Vanderbilt in the College of Education in Human Ecology. Dr. Ford's work focused on three primary areas: urban education, gifted education, and multicultural education. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ford, here to give us a different perspective. You can't have a panel without having one of our beloved students, uh, is to ensure that this new voice is included in the conversation. Please join me in welcoming our Buckeye student, Morgan McDonald, an art education major, who's also grew up on the east side of Columbus. Our fourth and finalist panelist is Dr. Rachel Kleit, the Associate Dean and full professor and Associate Dean of Faculty Affairs in the College of Engineering. Dr. Kleit work focused on issues of affordable housing and social inequality. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Kleit. Now, we're gonna do a round robin, and we're gonna try to, I'm gonna ask tough questions, because we had questions last week and they say, hey, we want tougher questions, and we're gonna take advantage of your expertise. And so, but I want to, before we get started, we encourage our audience to submit their questions through the Q&A function, because we welcome those questions. So let's do a round robin around this question. And let's start with Councilwoman Favor. We all know that where you can have an impact on where you live can have a tremendous impact on the opportunities that you have or you don't have. Please describe some challenges and opportunities for improvement that are impacting the Central Ohio community from your perspective as a councilwoman.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for extending an invitation for me to participate on this dynamic panel of women, if I may, just, women rule. But anyway, so, even before the pandemic, Columbus, like many cities across the country, was facing a housing crisis. Columbus is the 14th largest city, believe it or not, in the country, with close to 900,000 residents. Our region is expected to grow by 3 million in just a few short years. And although it appears that we are building everywhere you turn, we are significantly underbuilding. In order to keep pace with the growth of our population, we need to be building over 14,000 units a year, and we're barely hitting the 8,000 mark. Additionally, Franklin County has one of the highest rates of evictions in the state, with filing over 17,000 evictions a year. When you dive into that number, you will see that Black families in low-income neighborhoods, specifically Black women, bear the burden of that. So whether you're talking about evictions, homelessness, or poverty, housing insecurity disproportionately affects people of color, older people, and low-income wage earners. We cannot have a real conversation about housing, where you grew up, without recognizing the effect of systemic racism and the manner in which it has seeped into every institution in our society. There are structural causes that have created and or contributed to the disparities amongst people of color, gender, seniors, socioeconomic classes, which necessitates the need for structural solutions. There's no silver bullet that will end our housing crisis, but a shift in any system often leads to a shift in outcomes. Housing is at the very basic level of our needs as humans. And so there is no reason that individuals or families in our community should not have their very basic needs met and protected. With this understanding, I, as the chair of housing for the Columbus City Council, literally last night just hosted a hearing on 3 pieces of legislation that I am seeking to pass around this conversation of housing that are focused, laser focused, with a lens towards racial equity. And that is one way that we can begin to shift this conversation, therefore the dynamics of how people are growing up and living in our communities, and it being therefore dismantling that reality that where you come from, where you grow up, is how your life will turn out.
Well, Dr. Kleit, we know you've been steeped in this work for a very long time, and you're one of our eminent professors on campus who have spent a lot of time studying issues of inequality in housing. What perspectives would you like to share with us tonight around housing that the audience would certainly appreciate knowing more about?
I think what is important to know is that in our region, the way we're laid out spatially is not an accident. It didn't just happen. It's not a result of why people wanted to live in certain places. It's a result of some people having more opportunities and more choices than others. And it's a land use pattern, a pattern of settlement that was laid out from the 1930s with differential access to mortgage loans based upon the neighborhood you lived in. So there are, if you look, my colleague Jason Reese has done quite a bit of research looking at the overlap of current patterns of poverty with historic patterns of lending in our regions, in our metropolitan areas in the United States. And you can see where we starved some communities of capital and they have not prospered. The other thing I think it's important to understand is in this pattern is that it's not only the geographic pattern that matters, it's also access to other government goods that cause these structural problems. I recently had occasion to talk about my father going to World War II, coming back, getting the GI Bill and getting a home loan. People of color were not able to do those things. So that means there's a generational difference also in access to the kinds of things that help people to earn money so they can be more affluent and actually buy a home where they want that home to be. So we have a huge challenge in Central Ohio, though, with an uneven distribution of quality schools, safe neighborhoods. We have a lack of variation of the types of housing in different neighborhoods, so that people of different types of families can't move to various places. For the folks who we have a wage structure that produces a lot of not very good jobs that a lot of people have to raise families on. And the result is actually a lot of housing instability, because if they're not paying too much for housing, then they're paying what they can afford for bad housing in a neighborhood that they might not want to live in. And the only thing they can do to control this is to move. So this affects kids' health because of the quality of the housing. It affects their ability to be in school. Parents are stressed, apparently single parents. And when you're focused on survival, you can't do something really to improve other things in your life. So all of these things come together, and they do, as Councilwoman Shayla Favor says, we do need to have structural changes in order to address them.
You know, Dr. Ford, you have been steeped in the work areas of education and looking at achievement gaps, and you can see gaps throughout the educational continuum. And there's an urban ecosystem, and we just heard about housing and how, and some would say transportation is connected. But we know one of the main measures that we use to determine quality of life is education. And education is one of those indicators that we use. What is the shortcoming? Why increasingly school systems like Columbus City Schools have challenges, and how might they even help produce greater disparities within our educational system? You're on mute.
Okay, Dr. Moore, you start off by saying, there's talent in every zip code, and that is absolutely true. But you cannot tell that by looking at the numbers when you examine access to gifted programs and advanced placement. Students who live in poverty, those who are on free reduced, are grossly underrepresented in gifted programs and advanced classes nationally and in Central Ohio. I also want to say that your skin color is not your destiny either. So, and Black students, more than any group, are the most underrepresented nationally and in Central Ohio. So, just look at this statistics. Black students are 16% of our schools nationally. They're 10%, I'm sorry, they're 19% of our schools nationally. They're 10% of gifted programs. So that's about a 50% underrepresentation. But in Ohio, I just found out that Black students are about 16% of the districts, but only 4% of gifted programs. Now, you cannot say that racism does not exist. Racism, stereotypes, deficit thinking is undeniable when you see numbers like that. So my concern is that just in education overall, we want all children to have a rigorous education. We shouldn't save rigor for students identified as gifted. All students should have a rigorous education, but Black students are not getting it in our general education classrooms. They're not getting it in our gifted education classrooms because they're not there. They are not there. And I just want to make another point. It is ludicrous. It is laughable. It is pathetic that the state mandates that you identify, Dr. Moore and others, mandates that you identify gifted students, but does not mandate services. So who gets served? Those in the wealthier school districts where there is money, where there are resources. In the low-income districts or those primarily students of color, you're unlikely to see gifted programs. So, the inequities seem to be endless when it comes to education and definitely when it comes to gifted programs and advanced classes. And I'm not even through, but I think my time may be up. Systemic racism, individual racism, implicit bias, explicit bias, intentional racism, unintentional racism all of that is at work when it comes to gifted and advanced classes.
Dr. Moore,
Sure.
I'm sorry, I have to hop on in turn because Dr. Ford is so correct. And I'm wondering if she can elaborate a little bit, because if we're talking about education, right, all these things are connected. We also have to talk about the manner in which our schools are funded and not funded. And Ohio schools have been unconstitutionally funded for 20, 30 plus years. This is an Ohio Supreme Court decision that stated that you cannot use property taxes as one of the sole ways to fund our schools. And so if that is going to continue to be the manner in which our schools are funded, well, without a shadow of a doubt, if you're going to go into your suburban communities, right, more resources, obviously, our property values are higher, right? You're going to be receiving more in property taxes, therefore more going into the school district system. So we can't disconnect from the fact that that is also a part of the piece of this puzzle when you're breaking down systemic racism and the inadequacy in which some students are taught.
Absolutely.
No, I appreciate that. And feel free to interject anytime. We're just getting the conversation going. But I would be remiss if I don't address a question to Morgan, because Morgan, she's steep. She went through the school systems in Central Ohio, and she grew up on the east side of Columbus. Tell us what some of your sentiments, some of the things you heard and some of the things you experienced, and how all of that played out when you matriculated at Ohio State.
Well, I went to a suburban school that's on the east side of the Columbus. Actually, Pickerington. I see some people in the attendee section from Pickerington. Shout out to them. So I can definitely. I don't know if there's much of a difference between my experience at a suburban school because of like Councilwoman Favor said, the DeRolf versus state decision and the funding. Like our school was incredibly funded. Like I'm very grateful for that, but I also realized that not everybody gets that, and that's not prevalent in communities in Columbus, and that's an issue. And yeah, I don't know if I fully answered your question, but yeah, like going to Ohio State, there were definitely things that were different, such as like the art buildings during summer not having any air conditioning, which is really fun. Our studio classes are about 3 hours. And there's paint and there's like supplies and different stuff, and it takes a long time to dry. So that was an issue I had coming into Ohio State. I thought that was interesting that that's the only building, academic building on campus that didn't have air conditioning that I knew of. But yeah, and the funding, the Councilwoman Favor, you were talking about the funding and different stuff, that definitely like goes down to art because art is so underfunded already. So then you get into the thing of like, okay, well, the school is underfunded itself, and then how does that impact like the enrichment programs? Like these are quote unquote electives for students that kind of develop their creative thinking and can seriously impact every other academic part of their lives. And they're robbed of that, and that's wrong. And at a recent protest I attended and the protest I organized, I had a board that had a QR code talking about DeRolf versus state because the state got I think the right word is pardon, because they had a good effort on trying to end it, but it didn't end. So yeah, that's
Well, thank you. And we want to get to some solutions. As a Councilwoman Favor, you know, you were elected public official. What is the role of city council in righting some of these wrongs in housing and education and health and a number of other domains in Columbus?
Yeah, so I'll give a great example because I mentioned the public hearing that I hosted last night, where Dr. Rachel was one of the individuals that provided amazing testimony. So thank you once again for working round the clock to serve our community. But I think about since Ms. Morgan mentioned the protests, given the civil unrest, which OSU was not absolved from, very much connected to what was occurring in and around the country. And we saw civil unrest like we have never seen in Columbus. It's been years since something like that has occurred. And I'm almost positive that was definitely a historic moment for our city's history, right? And so on the precipice of that, me and my colleagues, now let me take a step back and, before I am an elected official, I am a Black woman, right? I am married to a Black man and I have 3 Black nephews and 1 niece. And when I saw what we all witnessed over the summer, I could not stand up and march alongside the youth and the advocates in our community and say wrong is wrong. Nobody cares at the end of the day that I'm elected official, right? Nobody cares. I'm another Black body when I step down. And I realized that I got hit with the spray like many people got hit with the spray. But it was because of those experiences that me and my colleagues were absolutely convinced that although true criminal justice reform doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen in a silo, something had to be done as soon as possible. And so over the summer, what you saw us engaged in was this idea of reimagining what public safety looks like. And we were able to pass 3 pieces of legislation that spoke specifically to criminal justice reform. But that didn't happen with us just talking to each other. That happened with us having conversations with people who were on the ground, hosting community hours, hosting public hearings over weeks and weeks of conversations with experts, and it became the #1 priority. That's what our role is as members of city council and as elected officials, to not just do what we think is best, but to listen to what the people are demanding from us. We would have, far be it from us not to rise to the occasion, not to rise to the moment and deliver what has to happen in order to bring about true change in our community. And I also chair criminal justice and judiciary community. And so criminal justice reform is at the heart of the work that I am committed to doing as long as I'm elected to do this work. So I think that's one of the things that we are tasked to do, is to listen and then to get to work.
Thank you. Dr. Ford, how do we close the gap between racial groups? Right now, as a result of COVID-19 and its plague and its wrath, it impacted everyone, but it seemingly impacted the most vulnerable people. A school district like Columbus City Schools was caught off guard with technology and making sure that we were able to provide a quality education for our students, not having the necessary technology. How do we close this gap, and how should we use this experience in COVID-19 to prepare for the future in urban education?
COVID-19, all it did was highlight another pandemic, which has been here for 400 years, and that's racism. There's 400 years of racism. And so we got a long way to go. But I want to borrow from your field, Dr. Moore. And I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but this is what's on my heart right now. I want to borrow from your field and just mention Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We've got to make sure that we are meeting students' basic needs, not just at home as families and caregivers, but also at school. Children cannot learn if they're hungry. Children cannot learn if they feel unsafe. Children cannot learn if they don't know where they're going to sleep that night, and more. And that just, goes to what the other panelists have been saying, as well. So it's hard to address. Anyway, we have to address those basic needs, and that's all the time. We have to invest, and that means time, and I'm speaking to the audience as well, time and money in the communities that have the least. Those who have the least need us the most. So we need to invest. And yes, I do mean financially, but I also, Dr. Moore and others, I mean time. Are we gonna go and mentor students? Are we gonna adopt a student in terms of an internship? For example, are we gonna tutor students and more? We have to really, at the university level, make sure that we are preparing all professionals to be anti-racist and culturally competent. Every profession, yes, let's talk about, that means the arts too, anti-racist and culturally competent, every single profession and professional. And then we have to make sure, I'm talking to the schools and organizations now, that professional development is not some kind of feel-good activities, that we dig deep and push people out of their comfort zone so that they can grow into being more culturally competent and less biased and anti-racist. So we got to be careful about the topics and choose those topics carefully, as well as the presenters carefully. And then finally, we need more people of color in every profession. In every profession, we need more people of color. So we need to be more mindful of recruitment and retention, which you do well in your office. You have a lot that you can share about how you're priming the pipeline with people of color.
Well, we got this question from the audience, and I want to come back to you, Dr. Ford. How has the digital divide and virtual learning affected education broadly, and particularly in gifted education?
Oh, it's magnified it, and it's just made it worse. That's what I'm saying. The digital, the virtual learning has increased the digital divide. You know, we got some students who, probably trying to do their homework and things from a cell phone, where others are on a $4,000 MacBook Pro. We have families who can afford it, who have what's called pandemic pods. They are hiring teachers for thousands, $10,000, $15,000 or more, to teach their children. They can still provide extra resources for their children virtually, and more. So this pandemic has widened the achievement gap, and it's just exposed more, as I was trying to say earlier, the inequities that already exist, not just in gifted education, just education overall. And this has set us back drastically. I really am afraid for our low-income children, as well as our Black and Hispanic and ELL children.
Well, urban education tends to be a consequence of the urban ecosystem and all the different challenges that comes along with the urban ecosystem. And as we know, one common denominator is families, right? We have school systems that don't always adapt to the kids. We expect the kids to adapt to the schools. We have high mobility rates in school systems, and some people think it is that the parents are searching for greater schools, and in all actuality, they're in search of housing, right? And they move from school to school, but the school systems didn't adapt to these kind of kids. We have a different scheduling plan in one school versus another, and inherently, sometimes our systems further exacerbate the gaps in kids. So how do we work with families? You know, Dr. Kleit, how do we help families get stable housing and connect that with the school? And give me some of your best ideas. This is the Ohio State University, one of the great intellectual installations. How do we help solve some of these urban challenges?
I think that we have to take many different tacks. This is what they call a wicked problem. It's with interwoven strands of history and knowledge and culture woven together. So we have two issues. One is we have an uneven distribution of amenity and goods across the metropolitan landscape. And then we have families who are very happy living in some neighborhoods and not happy living in others, and have dreams for their kids. And so one of the things that, I think Dr. Ford was talking about, we got to, help people in these neighborhoods, and that's absolutely true. Community development is absolutely true. However, when we do that, we have to make sure that we have enough investment in these communities so that if people want to stay there and prices go up, they can stay there in affordable housing, which we have done in this community successfully. Everyone looks at Wyland Park and they see the improvement in housing and don't realize the millions of dollars that went into subsidizing affordable housing in that neighborhood to retain people who were low-income homeowners and low-income renters. That's a huge commitment to do that. And that particular effort took the commitment of the private and the public sectors together. Funders, OSU, education, huge effort over 20 years. That took 20 years. So in 20 years, a kid grows up, right? And so for some kids, their parents are going to say, you know, I really want my kid to move. I want my kid to be in another school system. I want my kid to be in another neighborhood. But because, again, of the way we structure our housing market, not everybody can afford to do that. And so supporting, having some sort of housing mobility program locally, having a way of expanding access to rental housing or homeownership in a variety of neighborhoods. There's a program called Renter Mentor locally that helps people find housing. There's the program that I've started, which is just a pilot, where we support single moms to move to neighborhoods where they feel the schools are good and where they feel safe. And we support them with coaching. We work with the landlords to modify their rental criteria because landlords don't want to rent to some people. And they say while race is a protected class, income is not. So or credit score is not, or eviction history is not. And people are in a structure, in a system where they're experiencing eviction, where they're experiencing instability, and the pandemic has exacerbated that. So we not only have to do community development, we also have to do mobility, voluntary mobility for people. And it's not all a housing solution.
I have a question about that. And so I talk about this in a recent podcast that OSU did on my story. And I'm from Cleveland and East Cleveland. And one of the things I remember being told in middle school was, we need to save you from East Cleveland. So instead of damn fixing East Cleveland, you know, you got to pull people out of East Cleveland, and it's desolate. I mean, my mother told me the other day, I don't know if it's, you know, I didn't go follow up, that East Cleveland is considered the poorest city in the nation now, you know, a couple of hours away. But I mean, why are we pulling children out of their community rather than damn fixing it up?
Yeah, that's why I think it has to be both. I mean, I remember talking with Michael Wilkos when I first moved to Ohio in 2012 about Wineland Park. And he was all excited because the neighborhood was improving quite a bit. And you could really see it in the neighborhood. And then there were these people that they were working with in the community who suddenly moved away because they could, because their incomes had gone up and they wanted to go somewhere else. So I think we have to be really clear that some people have a lot more options than others. And we do need to be doing community development. I mean, one of the reasons I got into this work is because I'm a cynic about mobility programs, and I'm a cynic about mixed income housing. And look at me now helping to create a housing mobility program that I thought was not going to be successful, because who would want to move for 3 years? Who would want to do this? And it turns out there are people who want to do it. You know, interestingly, I was thinking as you were talking, Dr. Ford, about some of the experience of some of the kids who in their previous schools were considered to be troubled. They are constantly in trouble. And they moved to their new school district and they were actually gifted. And I see that's where the racism comes in. That's where I see it, right? And also the idea that, and it's not, I think the color of the person, of the teacher, actually doesn't matter, right? It matters what you can be any color and think that someone has capacity, or you think they don't. You know, we're not all, I think it's a very tricky set of expectations that we have. And the idea that people can only live in particular neighborhoods is also dangerous. They belong there. What happens when they leave? Well, what happens when anybody moves out of a neighborhood?
Yes,
know,
and
so anyway,
while
that's-
you're talking, Dr. Kleit, all I can think about is white flight
yeah,
or green flight, meaning money.
yep, that's right.
You don't want to be around those people.
Yeah, there's a lot of research on the racial balance, like stable racially mixed neighborhoods. And it turns out, this is from the Detroit area study over like 2 generations. And what it is that whites, unfortunately, we are more likely to want to live in more homogeneous white neighborhoods. And folks who are African American or Black tend to want to live in more diverse neighborhoods. And that's an exposure problem, I think. And that's why that's a hard balance. It's not. You want to create stable racially mixed neighborhoods, then we have to have a lot more exposure to each other in positive situations.
And I want the audience to.
I was just going to say, I think that's why this conversation is so important and timely, and it's being hosted by OSU because, in part, many people do not understand why things are the way that they are.
Yeah.
Right? There are reasons why people have more options than others. The system is working exactly how it was designed to work. This is exactly what happens when you do not invest in communities and you do not invest in strong neighborhoods and schools. Like, we are seeing the manifestation of state sanctioned laws, regulations that have created what we know as ghettos and what we know as suburbs. And until we truly educate people and inform them of this is what has gotten us here and this is what's going to take us to get out of it, then we're going to keep running this rat race trying to figure out why people of color can't move out of certain areas, or why people of color disproportionately make up Section 8 vouchers and things of that nature. There are reasons why we are here. And so I would encourage our listening audience, if you haven't read Color of Law or How to Kill a City, these are 2 amazing books that really give you a historic perspective of how our cities came to be and how areas have been, and people have been displaced, even here in Columbus, Ohio.
Yes, we live in Ohio. We live in that, I mean, we live in in an area that has been marked by this. When you think about the route for I-70, now I live in Bexley, but I-70's route goes around Bexley for a reason. Okay, I-71 going north went right, separated the African American community from the rest of the city, and only recently have they. I mean, that new bridge, I guess, that MKSK did, has that kind of is trying to link it again, but it's still, that's what happened. The names of places were changed, you know? I mean, it's,
Yeah.
And we think it's just the way it is.
I want to add this too, and yes, we see this in far too many cities. And I want to add this, going back to Councilwoman, and, just housing segregation. Gifted education is also used as a means of segregation.
Yes, it is.
So that the more privileged families can keep their children away from, in quotation marks, those children. It's a private school within a public school so many times, so that they don't have to send their children to private school as well. I repeat, Blacks are 16% of this city, but only 4% of the gifted programs. I forgot what I heard about Hispanics, but they're underrepresented too, but not to the same degree. That's not by accident. That's not an accident.
So I think there's a power differential and a vested interest, right, in keeping things the way they are. So what do we do? So I often think about this. What do we do to deal with that power differential? I mean, we elect people to office, right? That's one of the things we do. So I'm so happy you're in office, but what do we do?
Well, I got some more questions, and I can tell you all going to do coffee after this.
We'd rather just talk to each other.
But I wanted to make sure I include Morgan more in this conversation. certainly one of our young minds who's certainly a brilliant artist. She's an art education major. Tell us, what is the role of public art in public spaces? And how has art helped shape some of the conversations around inequality, advocacy, and social justice in Columbus from your perspective?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Moore. I could talk for hours about this. And I definitely want to acknowledge that art has surely helped, but art has also hurt. And I can't not acknowledge that because it's so prevalent. I mean, one of my instructors, Dr. Acuff, she studies critical multicultural education. And one of the quotes that was in a reading or something she had said during class, it was like, murals are the first sign of gentrification. And that is just like so true. Like murals themselves are beautiful, but what is it doing for the community? Like it's a picture that looks really nice. It's a photo op, but like what is it doing? And it's hard to imagine sometimes how a mural can change a place, but it's not very hard for me to imagine growing up in Columbus my whole life, because I look at the difference of Short North when I was younger and Short North now. You know, cafes, art galleries, restaurants, bars started popping up, and the population of the people that live there is now very different. So I think I definitely have to be critical of how art has hurt communities, and that's not okay. Art needs to help communities. And I think the ways it's helped communities is it has allowed a space for students. Like this is my opinion and what I'm going to do going into my teaching. A space for students to like explore their own identities and explore the world around them. Right now I'm writing a unit plan on culture, and it's just like incredible to see how art can really dig deep into like the uniqueness of a person. And it can also have a great conversation. It can start a great conversation about power struggles and institutional racism. And it doesn't always have to be like right in your face. Like, I think sometimes there's this misconception that art should not be political. Art is inherently political. And I think that sometimes people like to separate it. And I don't think that's possible in a lot of cases, because artists throughout history, I mean, you look at the AIDS epidemic, and you look from the civil rights movement, those posters and different stuff, like those are political. And I cannot as a teacher talk about those without talking about the systems and the oppression that caused these people to make that work. And yeah, so like I said, art has helped, but art has hurt. And you even look at the kind of hierarchy of who is in art museums, who has access to art museums. There's an art museum right down the road from some of the most like the places in Columbus, people are like, I don't want to go there because I'm afraid. But there's an art museum there, and you kind of put it there. And I'm really grateful for the Columbus Museum of Art because they do a lot of community programs, but I don't see a lot of that in other art museums. But yeah, I think that's a way that they have helped. They did this wonderful program called Surge Columbus, which I attended for 4 years and actually mentored at during high school. And that, as I said earlier, allowed students to kind of explore themselves creatively and explore their communities and explore their identities. So I think it's helped in that respect.
I want to encourage the audience to continue to submit questions, but I want your questions to be succinct because time is coming to an end. But this question is directed at Councilwoman Favor. We're present in a heated election season. How do you explain the importance of voting to someone who's either never voted or only vote during the federal elections?
So we only got like 11 minutes. So I'm gonna just try to scratch the surface just a little bit, respect time. But I think it's important to understand some of the reasons why residents don't vote, and not take for granted what those reasons may be. Quite frankly, I'm in the camp where our voting days should be national holidays. and you make it so that it is convenient for people. We think, some of us don't even think twice about going on Tuesdays in November to vote, but there are people who have to strategically plan their day around going to a place that may not be as conveniently located to their place of employment as it may be for others. And so you've got to schedule time off. There are barriers that are strategically placed to keep certain people from voting. So what I would tell people, or somebody who's in this camp today, is that as voters, we have the power, right? We have the power and the responsibility to shape how justice is served in our communities. We elect federal leaders, district attorneys, mayors, local legislators, and sheriffs, leaders who shape how our communities ensure public safety and secure justice. But this year in particular, is important because, as we've heard over and over again, not only is justice on the ballot, healthcare, reproductive rights, the economy, education, criminal justice reform, immigration, and the soul of this country is on the ballot. Threats to the efficiency of the United States Postal Service it's no laughing matter, right? Voter suppression is a real threat. And there are clear and defined efforts to keep people from showing up to vote. And so our future depends on each and every one of us doing our part next Tuesday, if you haven't done it already. So I know that many people, especially, I just had this conversation with a young Black man earlier today. I know that our Black and brown residents and young people feel that their vote doesn't matter. But I'm here to tell you that your vote absolutely matters. They wouldn't be working as hard as they are to keep people from voting. Literally, just 2 weeks ago, miraculously, the cord to some voting booths was cut, and people couldn't cast their ballots. Like, we are almost at the point where people are going to take ballot boxes and just burn them because it's that blatant. It's that clear that people want to keep people from voting. But I think that I want to reiterate that not only is it important for people to vote this year, but show up after Tuesday. That we put so much emphasis every year, every 2 years, every 4 years, on just showing up in a November or showing up for a primary, that you think all of the hope rests on that day. No, you have to hold your legislators accountable. You've got to hold your district attorneys accountable. You have to show up and show out to these people and let them know that your voice demands to be heard. Other than that, there's no level of accountability, right? And then we're left with this frustration. So when I speak about voting, I talk about the importance of that day, but I also talk about the importance of civic engagement. And I think that what COVID-19 has done, amongst other things, has allowed us to communicate and talk the way we're talking tonight, virtually, right? And so you're able to get the message out and to be able to interact. Council meetings are held virtually now. And so people are showing up in record numbers in ways that they have never before interacted with their legislators before. We have to continue that after November.
I think we have, for those, Dr. Moore, I'm sorry, I know we're almost done, but for those who are living in poverty and those who never voted, we have to do a lot of hand holding, and we have to show them how to, what the process of voting is like, take the intimidation factor out, take the fear factor out. We could help them fill out forms so they can do absentee ballots. I did the absentee ballots, and damn, that thing was confusing. So if it was confusing for me, what would it be like for others? And I was so nervous filling mine out. I put the return label back to the address label back to myself, so it came back to me. And then I had to mail it again. I'm like, what in the world? But I mean, like, once you get in that door, those who've never voted don't know what's going to happen to them. And we really need to teach, demonstrate that. Anyway, take the fear factor out, do hand holding.
And you
1
have
minute. No,
to
1 minute. I gotta get to the end.
Well, I have to
I
finish
want to make sure.
before though. Oh gosh. Okay.
I just want to make sure the audience is able to complete the survey, so I don't want them to leave. But I just have one question, and you got 30 to 40 seconds. Closing remarks. How can Ohio State as a community partner have an even greater impact in the neighboring communities? How can Ohio State as a community partner to have an even greater impact in the neighboring community? We start with you, Morgan.
I would say don't treat service as a one-day thing. Continually be in the community. I think that sometimes, we just kind of like spend one day and it's like, okay, I did my service, I'm great, I'm gonna post it on Instagram, and then we leave. And then what do you do for these kids? You spent one day like talking to them over lunch. Yes, that's very powerful, but also like what long-term changes are you trying to make?
Okay, thank you. Dr. Kleit.
Ohio State is a big place. And so I think what we need to do is communicate how people access resources that are so diffuse, yet so plentiful on campus. And we have to figure out how to help people navigate so we can translate their needs into matched opportunities for them and for us in the academy.
Dr. Ford.
Well, I want to give a shout out to our dean who, for example, gave us an opportunity for a Big Ideas grant up to $100,000 to go and partner with the Columbus City Schools and surrounding schools. So that was an example of an investment and commitment. So I want all of the every part of the university to make sure that they are investing and requiring diversity classes.
Thank
Classes
you.
on poverty.
Councilwoman Favor.
I feel like I'm on the campaign trail again. Okay. So OSU is like a city within a city. I remember being a student there. It's very easy to isolate yourself on campus and not to remember that you are a part of a larger city, that being Columbus. So get out of the four walls, if you will, of the campus and interact with residents. Record numbers of OSU students were showing up over the summer for protests. Let's keep that same energy. Let's keep having those same conversations. So many student organizations reached out to have conversations just like this one. Let's keep having those types of conversations. And then I would say to the group that formed this one tonight, keep having these honest dialogues. People can feel authenticity. They can hear it a mile away. And when you have this type of candid conversation, people connect with that. And I think that's important for students who are struggling with what is happening right now in our country. I applaud you all for having this tonight.
Thank you. Our time has come to an end. I hope everyone watching at home, in their office, or even in their car has enjoyed this conversation. I hope we giving you some things to think about, and we spurred to get involved in addressing some of the issues we tackled today. A long time ago, the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. inspired his followers by talking about the fierce urgency of now. What he meant by that was that there was no other time or place to be standing for change and justice. If we think to change if we think of ways to change our society, we must act and we must work for those changes in the minute, in this hour, and this day. We have a long road to travel to greater equity and inequality, but I hope we have the third of today, the third part of the Right for Change series will be on November the 12th and is entitled From Conversations to Action. I hope you will take time to join us November the 12th for what I'm sure will be even more enlightening conversation. Thank you, panelists, for what you do. And I look forward to working with you to make our Columbus community even stronger. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.